What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm aiming this one at people who may already be married or contemplating marriage. I did this subject before, but I was asked to touch on it again. If you didn't see the video, I believe it was submission, the taboo word in marriage, or something like that. But I wanna go over the subject maybe from a different angle one more time. I know that the world that we live in that is going to major on women's independence and the demasculation of men. So you got two things going on at the same time in the society that we live in, whether we want to admit it or not. If we slow down and think about it, we have the rise, which has been on the rise, but we have the rise of independent women at the same. So that's going up. At the same time, we have the rise of demasculating men at the same time. So that's why I have even another video that talks about by 2040 women will be asking men to marry them. But you got to go watch that. So in the middle of all of that, people are still getting married, and of course they want to hold on to traditional values, right? Nobody wants to seemingly try to change anything. Everybody wants to get married traditionally. But you hear a lot, at least I have, even in real life, you hear a lot of women say, I'm not going to submit to a man that's not worth, and you hear a lot of talk like that. Y'all have heard it. I'm no, they're not coming out and saying I won't submit, but they put these high qualifications on the type of man they'll submit to. He's got to be like this, he's got to be like that. I'm not submitting, that's old. And I think that the idea comes from when you hear the word submission, especially for women, and especially if you haven't really been affiliated with a lifestyle of discipline, let's say military or law enforcement, something that really brings in discipline. When a woman hears the word submission, she can easily confuse that and try to make that synonymous with control. So obviously, with the rise of independent, and nobody should be controlled anyway, but when you with the rise of independent women, you're definitely not going to want to put yourself in a position to be controlled because you have gone to school, you have your own mind, you got the degrees, you got the knowledge, you know what I'm saying, you got the smarts, you put in the work. Nobody should be able to control you. And so submission then sounds like control. Nobody wants to be controlled. I'll marry him, I'll love him, but he can't control me. And that is actually the furthest thing from the truth. Submission and control are two different words. That's why I wanted to go ahead and make another video and kind of break that down because I think that a lot of people don't understand it and they're being afraid of it because nobody's paying attention to what it really means. It's not the same thing. Control is more out of intimidation. It's more domination. You do what I do because I told you to do it. Uh, my word is the word. You're ruling more with the iron fist. I control the situation. You do it. It's more authoritative. You do it or else. If you don't do it, it probably comes with a punishment. That's not submission. That's control. Two separate words. But if we confuse them, then we'll think that it's the same word and it's not. I understand no woman wants to be controlled, right? So if you going if especially like I said, this is aiming at people that want to be married. You want to do things the right way. I want you to pay attention to this. Women, I'm putting some responsibility in your lap. You're gonna have to take some accountability for the decisions that you make and the kind of man that you marry. Listen to what I'm about to tell you. Submission means I trust his judgment. I want you, if you repeat it after me, write it down, do whatever you have to do. Submission means I trust his judgment. So if you understand that, then that means, ladies, to my Keishas out there, to my Keisha Bone, to my Sandras, to my Alizés, listen. If you understand that the word submission is speaking of you, your ability to trust his judgment, then why would you marry or why would you date a man for marriage and you know you don't trust his judgment? If you know that submission means I am putting myself in a position to follow him because I trust his judgment, and you know that submission is a very key component of a traditional marriage, then why would you date a man for marriage? And especially, why would you marry a man when deep in your heart you know you do not trust his judgment? Because this is what's going to happen, and this is what guys don't like. Guys don't like when every time they say something, every decision that they make gets challenged. The reason that it's going to get challenged is because the woman more than likely don't believe or trust his judgment. So therefore, she see every decision that he make, she can see it may be done a better way or a different way. So she's going to come up with something that may challenge it. It's not done intentionally. It's not done to necessarily put him down. It's not done to show him up. It just shows the level of trust. She has to get to a place where she's able to trust his judgment. If she don't trust his judgment, then she's gonna want to have a say so on all of his decisions. That's gonna create a tug of war situation that the man is gonna get frustrated in, and it's what we call combative. We don't call combative just because y'all rolling y'all neck and got your finger in our face and screaming and yelling and fussing and cussing and doing all of that. That's not the only thing that makes y'all combative. We're gonna feel combative is when we're in a tug of war. I'm trying to go this way, you're trying to go that way. I'm trying to go this way, you're trying to go that way. That's combative. But you can eliminate a lot of that if you just hook up with someone or marry someone or date to marry someone that you trust his judgment. This is why I said I'm putting the responsibility back on the ladies, because when he asks for your hand in marriage, or you let him know I'm dating for marriage, because that's especially the older women now, that's what women are saying. I'm dating for marriage. In other words, I'm not just out here fooling around giving you my goods for no reason. If we're going to do this, then we have to have a mission or goal and objective in mind. Well, again, if this man don't have those qualifications that you feel you can trust his judgment to lead you and y'all family together, why would you marry him? That's a question that ladies have to answer. Okay. One of the things too that I want to throw in there is submission allows, because this I'm just going to give these 2 points: the definition of submission and then mutual input. Submission allows, because again, a lot of women say this all the time. They just don't. They want somebody that is just a doormat. They want somebody that they can just run over. They want somebody that don't give no feedback. That's not what we're looking for. We want the input. But we want the input with the understanding that it still has to be one voice that ultimately makes these decisions. See what I'm saying? We want the input, but you're still going to have to trust the man enough to say, once I have given the input, once I have put it in his hands, once I have shared with him how I see it, I still trust him enough. I still trust his judgment enough that I'm able to submit to the decision that he comes up with, even if I don't completely like it, but I understand he makes sound decisions. So we get ourselves in a lot of trouble a lot of times, and we don't have to. Find you someone that you trust his judgment. And then as you'll find yourself having to give less and less input, and the input that you do give, it'll be mutual, and you'll still respect him, honor him enough, and submit to him enough where you understand he is still the voice of this family. Got to be able to do that. And a lot of times, like I said, not to bash or be called them, not to bring a hammer to the ladies, but a lot of times we don't exercise those things. We'll be more submitted in a workplace than we will be underneath the rule or the authority of a man. A woman can go to work and and I'm just using this for an example, right? Because it's easy to see. A woman can go to work, she work at a dentist's office or whatever, a lawyer's office, and they could have a set standard of what is appropriate to wear, what's not appropriate to wear. And because they paying her $32 an hour, the woman is not going to say anything about the dress code there. When she gets up in the morning, she's going to put on the clothes that they tell her she's supposed to wear, whether it's scrubs, whatever it is that the design is. You can't have no cleavage showing this, that, and the third, whatever. She's going to do it, right? She's going to submit herself to that business because they're paying her paycheck. But that same woman can be married to a man who may say to her, sweetie, I don't know if that's appropriate for you to wear outside the house. And she'll kick back on him once again because she don't trust his judgment. Or she thinks that her judgment or her view of it is greater or higher than his, instead of realizing this man makes sound judgment. He has a fair look at life. I can submit myself to what he is trying to suggest to me, not out of control, not out of intimidation, not out of fear, not out of anything, not trying to be dominant over you or make you his doormat or anything like that, but simply his ability to come up with sound, solid decisions. And you have said to yourself, if I'm going to be married to this man, I'm going to trust his judgment. Remember that. That's the answer to the test. Do not marry a man. Do not marry a man that you do not trust his judgment, because you will not submit to him, and y'all will be in a tug of war in your marriage. And to the men, do not marry a woman that you can tell during the dating stage she does not trust your judgment. Y'all got it? Good.